Salute, my name is Josef. Everybody calls me Jose. I came from Prague, and kind of like my attribute, I like beer. Maybe one big disclaimer before we start talking digital recruitment, before we start talking talent sourcing. Some things I will present might be illegal and maybe even dangerous, so beware. So let's start Black Hat right now. What do you think this is? Or maybe Christian, what do you think this is? I can give you a clue. My lawyer advised not to bring it at all, so I bring just a piece of that. Thank you for your fingerprint. So, what do you think this is? Support? What's that? Okay, okay.
Like a gun,
so
you know,
in
like
other words,
committing
kind of pistol.
suicide.
But it's a pistol, but what's special about it?
It's different.
It's different? Why is different?
Because it's small and unattractive.
No, the thing is that it's printed on a 3D printer. So it's actually a 3D printed gun. But so maybe you wonder, maybe you are watching some TV series, for example, Gomorrah, one of my favorite TV series, and you will discover, okay, so there are 3D printed guns. We have a 3D printer at our office. Can I print a 3D printed gun? Okay, let's see. So let's open Google, and we will put there something like 3D printed guns. Okay, let's click on the first link. We are on Wikipedia, a legitimate, trustworthy source where you would not expect to find some of these things. Let's go down. There is some legal status, and you can see there is a link to Liberator. Okay, let's click on that. We are on the Wikipedia site with that Liberator, which is the name of the 3D pistol. Let's go further on. Another link, and there is actually a list of all 3D printed guns on Wikipedia. So let's move on. We can see that one of the providers is a company called Foscat. So let's Google Foscat, open Foscat website, download one big package where are all these 3D printed guns included. Open it, unzip it, you can see the structure. Then you can send it simply to the 3D printer, which 3D printer now, for your imagination, it can be a printer. This printer is for something like $700, so it's very cheap. And you have few parts, and you have it. So you could see that in today's world, not only that everything is possible, you can create basically anything, but you sometimes use legitimate sources to find things which you might not be, let's say, authorized to use it, as well as, for example, CVs on the internet. Maybe one interesting thing to this gun, it's kind of plastic, but it's made out of corn. So it's kind of eco-friendly, and of course it's untraceable, so you are ready to fly with this weapon because it's not detectable. Yeah, but the thing is, with the candidates, so maybe you can see, for example, if we can use Airbnb to find candidates. So let's open Google, our good friend Google, and do a search something like this, site airbnb.com/users Java Prague. And you can see on Airbnb, there is actually a section where there is About Me section with the job title, with other information, so you can use that. We can go further. Again, we use Google to find some CVs on the internet. So people put their CVs when they are at the college, they put it on the university network. They have their own websites. They have different kind of websites, and Google can kind of index these CVs. So you can see the search is structured as that I'm looking for files such as doc, PDF, RTF, and so on, which has the resume, CV, or I guess resumat in your language. And I'm looking for accountants with German or French. So again, you can see there is, for example, the first link, Christina Popescu, for example. So it's her CV. Maybe she's not presented on LinkedIn at all. Maybe she's not Facebook, or we cannot find her there. So that's one of the ways we can do. This is interesting because you can see the first link. Is there somebody from the company called Hayes, agency Hayes? Okay, no, so we can tell it. So you can see the Hayes, it's a huge international agency. but Google was able to find a CV of some accountant, Dobromila Mila, through Google. So Dobromila Mila would be really surprised that her CV is somewhere out there because she attended an interview at this agency. Maybe it happened like that, that the recruiter just scanned or copied the CV on at the office, and the scanner saved that to some directory which was indexed by Google, and suddenly it's online. So we can go even further. Facebook sourcing. You use Facebook for different things. Maybe even David, for example, mentioned you can use it for if you want to know more information about the candidate and so on. But you can use this plugin on intel-cw.com, which kind of like create you kind of like LinkedIn searching from Facebook. So you can search for people living, for example, in Bucharest, being in a group, having in their title PHP, and speaking in German language. And you can see the list of Facebook people right on Facebook, which you can contact right away. Maybe again, these people might not be presented on LinkedIn. So of course, Facebook has 4 times more users than LinkedIn. So still, there is a huge potential to use this. But if you really want to do a research on a candidate, you should use stalkface.com. Because if I open your profile, for example, we are not connected, or maybe we can be connected. I can see your pictures, I can see something like that, what you put there. But with the Stalkface, I can see all other pictures where you are just tagged. I can see groups you are part of. I can see other commented pictures and so on. So it will really give you the real picture about a person. So my fellow recruiter Steve Levi said that I know it looks like a bit like a cyber stalking, but actually in recruitment we call it research. Another way, for example, how to find emails with this plugin, or it's actually a website as well. You can put there a list of emails, which, for example, you know a name of a candidate from LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on, and you are trying to determine his or her email address. So you can put there, for example, here 4 email addresses, and this software will tell you if there are some social networks associated with that email. So you can see the second email is associated with maybe 10 social networks, so it's probably the right email, and you can see the social networks as well. By the way, we can see, for example, this is my email, so you can see I'm presented on YouTube as well. YouTube can be easily used to approaching candidates as well. There is About section where you can hit Send Message, and you can use original channel how to deliver a message to a candidate. Name check, similar way, but it's using logins. So if I put there, for example, Josef Kadlec, it will tell you which social network is already occupied with this login, which means it will be probably the candidate's social networks. So you can see there are many ways how to, not only that you can do it, but you can do it pretty quickly. So maybe if you wonder what's my background, I'm a former mathematician. I worked as a software engineer. I studied nuclear sciences of physical engineering. So, but you can see with the current state of the labor market, with the current tools you can use, the recruiter role kind of changed from that transactional role where you just were listing, sorting CVs, to another role where the marketing skills, sales skills, and technical skills is a must. I'm the author of People as Merchandise, which was a kind of like eye-opener for me because at the beginning, for example, David also wrote me, I would say, kick-ass introduction to my book, I have to say, at the times where I was just a little cockroach. I was nothing. I contacted people over LinkedIn and so on, and I realized that any candidate, anybody on the planet is approachable. The variable how to approach them, or if you are able to approach them, is just your effort. So, yes, so that was kind of like a eureka moment for me. Now I'm, based on the book, 3 years ago, I'm the original founder of a holding where we do recruitment software, and we do recruitment education as well with the Recruitment Academy, where we try to set kind of like a recruitment standard training here in Central and Eastern Europe, which is kind of our market. Now, within the 3 years, we have 140 employees, So we are growing quite rapidly. I also managed to be the first LinkedIn certified professional here in Southern Eastern Europe, and you will see later on that my connection with LinkedIn is kind of special. So I would describe with this picture the current situation on the labor market. David said that he doesn't like the word passive candidates, but what we simply mean by passive candidates is people are working somewhere. These people behind the fence, those are not candidates. Those are us, recruiters, trying to catch that one candidate. So you know, if you give an offer to a candidate, probably 2, 3 other companies will give the offer as well, because that's the state of the market, and especially in the Czech Republic, where we have basically 0 unemployment rate. So at the beginning, I don't know it personally, but some people told me that normally employers put advertisement into newspapers, and everything was kind of like straightforward. Candidates know where to go, it's newspapers, and employers knew that as well. So everybody meet at one point. Then there were like the job portals and so on. Emails, imagine how email changed. If you had an email in something like 2000 or 1998, you simply read all emails. Now it's just a mailbox where everything is going into, and if I don't reply to your email, you will not be probably that offended because you know how it is. Then LinkedIn was created, some people went there, and now, as you saw, the CVs on LinkedIn, candidates are everywhere. Everywhere in the online world, everywhere in the offline world. So the digital footprint is different for all of us. So IT people, of course, yes, the digital footprint is very, very significant. On the other hand, non-IT people, not so much. So the recruitment process had to change from the job advertisement, where you put an advertisement, now we call it post and pray, so that we post advertisement and praying for some CVs, which are not coming. And employer branding, of course, it's the variable as well. Now it's changed to talent sourcing. I'm going after those CVs. I have to grab those CVs from the market. Candidate engagement. For example, we mentioned IT people. It's not a problem to find 1,000 IT people, software developers, for example, in Bucharest, but the problem is to engage with them. If you do IT recruitment, the problem is not finding, the problem is engaging with them. And again, the employer branding is still a huge factor. So you can see this is kind of a funnel made on social talent. This is your recruitment. On the left side, you can see inbound recruitment, which is people coming to your website, to your job advertisement, and so on. So you can see, on average, you have to have 500 people visiting your job advertisement on your website to be able to hire one. On the other side, it's the outbound recruitment, it's the talent sourcing where you go after those CVs. It's said that on average, you have to contact 49 people, for example, on LinkedIn, to be able to hire the one person. Lou Adler, which is kind of like, I would say, matador in recruitment, you can see it's the same, similar statistics. Direct source, 50 to 1. So on average, regardless of the industry, in IT it will be more, in non-IT it can be 1, 2, 3, okay. So, it's similar. When I did a research at our company, it was something like 23. So we need to, on average, contact 23 people, 23 candidates to get one. Here we have some real examples. Digital manager, L'Oreal. So you can see at the beginning, this is the output from our recruitment software. We had to contact 4 people to get free CVs. The free CV means that 3 people were interested by us, were qualified to do the job. And then we placed 1 candidate. When we go to a marketing manager for, let's say, not so well-known company, HealthSpy, you can see for almost the same amount of CVs, we had to approach 35 candidates, which means contacting 35 candidates will take you more time of your recruiters, more time of your sourcers. On the left side, you can see, for example, on this job, worked 1 recruiter and 1 sourcer. Project engineer for Eurasia, big automotive company, 67, which is kind of like average if you are doing engineering and especially automotive. This is like average number the number of people you need to approach to get one. JavaScript developer, you can see the number of sourcers is steeply growing. So one recruiter and something like 6 sourcers, because contact 138 candidates, it's not that easy as contact 4 candidates, of course. So this is, I would say, average number if you do software development roles. This is one extreme number, over 800 people contacted to place the role, but sometimes it happens. So these are the numbers for our, where it very much depends if you are in-house, if you are agency, it very much depends what roles you are doing. If you do IT, this will be too low for you. You would normally have something like 80 to 150 people on average. So we do everything, so it's something like 23. So the problem is time. So imagine in the old times where you were used to put there a job advertisement, it took you maybe 10 minutes. So you had a proposal, you put it there, it took you 10 minutes, then you waited for CVs, screened the CVs, interview candidates. That was not a problem. This was a project for one large bank where we contacted over 700 people to get 30 CVs and then place 7 people. The problem is that to approach 700 people over LinkedIn, phone, any kind of channels took over 400 hours. So if you have a team of, for example, 2-3 recruiters, usually used to doing the work in the way that you put their advertisement, now you could have a problem because you don't have over 400 hours in your capacity to cover that. So social media, from this perspective, changed the landscape very much. I would say with the social media, it's the easiest way how to build a brand, how to build a personal brand, how to approach people, and so on. Imagine that, for example, when I did IT security a long time ago, when we needed some names at the company, we were doing something like audit or penetration testing. We actually did something like which is called trash diving. So we went to the offices, to the trash bins, and we were looking for some output of emails, of some output of payrolls, for example, to find some names, maybe some numbers. Then we could call to the company, introduce as the accountant, for example, and it was done. Now, with LinkedIn, I can have the list of all Department of Accounting, for example, and I can do all these things without doing this messy job. So LinkedIn, of course, in this sphere is very important for us, is something like 50–60% as source of hire. So it's, let's say, I would say significant source of professional data. But what I would say also that LinkedIn is kind of ruined now as well. So I say recruiters ruin everything in a way that when I used LinkedIn 10 years ago, where it wasn't definitely a standard for HR, of course, I had a better efficiency than now. So what we do now is sometimes that we use LinkedIn only as a source of data. We will find candidates there. I know that there is some John doing this work, but I will use other channel like Facebook, like I will find any other information and try to deliver the message anywhere else, because from this perspective, LinkedIn is a little bit crippled, but still the greatest source of professional data. But do you think that the access to LinkedIn is the competitive on your own? Do you think just the access to the network is your competitive advantage here? It's actually, imagine that you can all be on LinkedIn. So if you can all go there, just the access, it's not the competitive advantage. The competitive advantage is how you work with it. So I can show you an example. So we can imagine that LinkedIn is a huge library, but to get that one particular book, you need to know the way how to get there. So imagine, for example, I'm looking for a product manager. So you will put there product manager because your role is called product manager. You will find over 2,000 candidates. Then I will try to cover, for example, manager de produce, which I believe is the Romanian term for product manager. And you can see there are more people. So I started to create a competitive advantage. I found more prospects to be contacted. Then I do other search where I cover even typos. There are people, of course, LinkedIn is not a CV. There are people who are not looking for a job. So, of course, there are typos. So there are hundreds, thousands of typos of the word manager, such as manager or manager, and so on. So you can see just using that, I'm over 3,000 already. So I'm creating the competitive advantage again. Then, when I would do the search, I would not use the word manager at all. I would use something like product or products or produce or PM, because at your company, it might be called product manager, but at another company, at your competitor, it might be called product owner, for example. The very same role, but if there are product owners on LinkedIn, you will not find them with the previous searches. So we are now at 6,000+ search result, still very relevant. So you are creating competitive advantage there. There are, of course, other sources where you can source professional data. If you, for example, look for candidates in Germany, there is a professional network called Xing or Xing. In France, there is Viadeo. In Poland, there is, for example, Golden Line. So those are some local LinkedIns which has great power in those local countries. But of course, we do to Twitter, we do to Facebook, we do to Kontakte, which is kind of Facebook for Eastern Europe, I would say. We can go anywhere else, including Tinder, for example. We have placements done over Tinder. Yeah? Don't ask me how. Dribble, Behance, those are special portals for UX, UI developers, graphic designers. If you are looking for developers, software developers, you will definitely go to GitHub. You will definitely go to Bitbucket. You will definitely go to Stack Overflow. So there are endless possibilities which you can use. So now move to how to approach people, because as we said, finding people, yeah, it's a crucial part, because if you are not able to find somebody, you are not able to contact them, for sure. So firstly, we need to accomplish the searching phase, and now to the contacting phase. If I would switch my profile back to a software engineer, I would be receiving every day, in the Czech Republic, I would be receiving 5 calls, emails, invitations with, for example, emails saying in the subject line, great opportunity for you, interesting job opportunity for you, and so on. To success in reaching these demanding candidates, which are contacted every day by several recruiters, you just need to break the pattern. So if everybody is doing something, you need to do something else. On average, for example, on LinkedIn, when we use a classic text approach, we have something like 36% response rate, which means that the candidate replies to us even, yes, I would like to know more, or he will say, no, contact me in 6 months. That's response rate. But you saw the numbers. On average, you need to contact 48 people, or if you are in IT, usually something like 146 people. But I don't know, for example, in Brasov, but there are smaller regions where I'm looking, for example, for some specific IT role, and there are not so many people to approach. So I'm going against the odds to even fill the role. So what to do? You need to increase this number. How to do that? Recently, I published an article on Media about so-called video sourcing. I play with this maybe for that 3 years already. And what I call with video sourcing, it's usage of videos, but not for employer brand and these like marketing things, but directly for that direct approach. Video job description, that's one of the elements. So this guy is a team manager at the company. He's not a recruiter, he's right at the company. In this case, I'm regional sales director for engineering company 2N. And we will take a mobile phone and we will do a 2-minute video with him where he will say something like, hey, I'm Martin, I work for this company, we do this, and I'm looking for a guy who should be responsible for this, he should know this, blah, blah, blah. So in other words, he will informally say what is in the job description, but of course the job description is usually kind of like a template where you will put there the responsibilities, you should know this, and so on, and it's not so attractive usually. So from his words, it's definitely more natural. And recruiters or sourcers will use this video instead of the classic text job advertisement. So they will contact people on LinkedIn and so on. Everything's the same, but instead of sending them a proposal, a text proposal, they will send this video. It has 2 effects. One effect is that you will disrupt and you will break the pattern with using the video. Everybody are used to receiving text, and suddenly you put there a video. So it's like okay, there's something different. I will open it. And the second thing is that he can see his potential future boss. So in this case, for example, Martin, he spoke half of the video in French and half in English because he's looking for some account manager for Africa. So you can see your potential boss. So if you see your job advertisement in text, you would say, okay, so any other account management or account management job, okay, I will pass on that or maybe later. But here you will say maybe something like, okay, it looks like a solid guy. Yeah, why not? I will attend the interview. We will see. Maybe you will say, okay, he's kind of like asshole maybe. But you would meet him anyway. So if you would read the text advertisement, you would attend the interview and you see he's an asshole on the interview. This is at least saving times for both sides. So this is increasing the response rate, let's say, significantly. This is even more hardcore approach. This is Zuzka, and she was looking for some ECM specialist for Tieto. Tieto is Finnish company, and there were only 20 qualified candidates in that region. It wasn't in the capital city, it was in a smaller region. So she really needed answer from all of them. So she created 20 videos, something like, hello David, I found your LinkedIn profile and it's very interesting. I would like to speak with you about this, blah, 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 blah. 2 minutes, something like video. So she, with the complete personification. So at the beginning of each video there was hello David, hello Martin, hello blah blah blah. So kind of like hard job to do, but you can see the response rate from the 36% skyrocketed to 100%. All of them replied. Yeah, of course the factor IT guy and lady recruiter maybe can be a factor as well, but yeah. So as I said, the variable is only your effort. So you could see her effort was she's done 20 videos, but the output was that the response rate is 100%. You can do the same with virtual reality. Again, as you saw the 3D printed pistol, 3D printing, it's very cheap. You can have it, as well as you can have virtual reality. Virtual reality cameras are now for something like $100 up. So this was done with a camera for $300. And you can actually, I will show you here how the headset for VR can look like. It can look like this. So what do you think is the cost of this? You can take it. So okay, what do you think is the cost of this device? Hundreds of dollars. Any other guess? Actually, this one, it's like $4, including shipping from China. Yeah, literally.
5 minutes reminder,
Yep.
Joseph, thank you.
There are also paper ones, so this is something like for 50 cents. So you can do a video. Imagine doing a video where you will put the camera on the seat where the guy would be working. So he would actually appear at the company on the very seat where he would be working. He can see around, he can see his future colleagues, he can see his future boss coming to him and saying, okay, so this would be your seat, you can see around, we do here these things and so on. So this is now possible. So you can choose, again, like here, 20 candidates and send them those VR headsets. So yeah. Live videos, I would say it's a very new thing we are testing right now. This is a selfie stick we created at our company. I call it Selfie Stick Mr. Hollywood, where you can put 3 mobile phones. It has its own lighting and audio input. And the thing is that there is now Facebook Live, Twitter Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, Periscope. And when you do some videos, you want to do for all of them. You don't want to do just Facebook Live. If I do a video live, I want to cover all channels. So now our sourcers are encouraged to do some kind of videos, kind of like webinars for candidates to collect and increase the pool of candidates. The last thing is branding. The branding is still very important because, of course, when I'm a recruiter at Google, my response rate will be definitely higher than when I'm working for some unknown company. Google is receiving 2 million CVs every year. Just by the way, I want to work there. but still Google needs to use LinkedIn, needs to use Facebook and all other tools to source people. Because, yeah, first thing, they are looking for A players, that's one thing. And the second thing is that they have many roles, so not all of them are covered as well as the others, so they still need to use it. So imagine when you have a candidate at the interview, he already went through the process of that. He probably saw your maybe some campaigns, advertisement, your career website, your profiles, and so on. And he already went through a 70% of decision-making process. And as well as, for example, when I have Mercedes or Audi, I will probably not go to Kia showroom to see Kias, right? So people just don't go to companies just by the way. So they have some selection based on this. And one thing we are like fighting against is the name of recruiters. So you can ask Google what recruiters thinks about what Google thinks about recruiters. Maybe you say, okay, but I'm not a recruiter, I'm from HR. Okay, so let's try HR. Yeah. So, of course, when I'm a candidate, I would rather receive the recruitment message from my potential boss or from the CEO. And actually, at some companies, it's usually like that for example, HR has their CEO's LinkedIn profile at their disposal, and they are using it. So one thing you can do about it is to work on your profiles. Because on LinkedIn, there is a highest probability that I will, for example, see Jim's profile than his company or, for example, employee's profile. So if we count the visits of your all employees and we compare it, the visits of the LinkedIn company website, the first number will be far way higher. So if your CEO's profile looks like this and somebody's going for an interview to him, okay, we can doubt that it has some negative effect, but definitely there is no positive effect. If your CEO's profile and your, let's say, people who are visible at your company, it's definitely a different story. Okay, so the future is now. You can use all these tools. Virtual reality, there are now new things like chatbots, for example. So robots and these things are and might influence. Actually, practically, as well as I said, the virtual reality, you can have it right now. It's like a real thing. You can use other things, so don't be afraid of technology and be a little bit obsessed with your job. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Josef. Please take a seat.